thank you so much for joining us as we continue our coverage from the Democratic National Convention. We are right now at Media Row in the atrium of the United Center, and joining us is Fatima Goss Graves, who is with the National Women's Law Center Action Fund. Tell us, first of all, where are you from originally?
You know, I grew up mostly in Oakland, California. My family lives in Michigan, but I did spend 1 year in Chicago.
Oh, I like you. Like years ago. We weren't asking for your Chicago credentials, but so growing up in Oakland, what did you dream of? I often talk to people about their dreams when they were little, or what they wanted to do, because it gives us a little bit of insight of where, you know, the choices that we make. So what did you set out to do when you were young?
At some point along the way, I had this idea that I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm not exactly sure why, because there weren't any lawyers in my family, but I think it's because I saw lawyers as doing justice, as having a tool to change the world, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Look, at one point I wanted to be a lawyer too, and I am so glad that you did, because you're right. Because there are so many things that we don't understand, what our rights are, what we are capable of doing in many situations, whether it's housing, medical instances, politically, obviously. So where did you go to law school?
I went to Yale Law School.
Hello. All right. Nice. Well done.
Like J.D. Vance.
Well, I mean, you know, some institutions make mistakes here and there. Well, but here's the thing, but that's what the law is supposed to be, a leveling for everybody. It's supposed to make sure that everyone's coming from the same position and that there's fairness, right?
That's one of the things about it. You come up and you understand that it's core to our democracy. There are rules of the road. You learn about fairness and equality and justice as principles in addition to the actual law. It becomes sort of foundational to who you are as a person, or at least it should.
And so when you started out, did you think, I'm going to do real estate law, I'm going to do civil rights, environmental? What was the plan?
I wanted to be a civil rights attorney.
There it is.
I wanted to fight for people. I saw that as an opportunity to sort of change the world in a big way. Both my parents, I should just tell you a quick story, were plaintiffs, their families, in school desegregation cases.
Okay.
And so I didn't understand about the law as, from a professional standpoint, I just saw it as a powerful, powerful tool for freedom and justice and equality.
And that, I think, so when I wanted to go to law school and I wanted to do civil rights as well, and I think that, I'm not sure how old you are. I graduated college from 1993, right? So we, at that time, it was prominent. People were, reading about African American studies, women's history. All these different elements were starting to come to the foreground in the 80s and 90s. And isn't it startling to see so many people on the right wanting to claw back everything that was earned, and how much we still had left to achieve, right?
It's just a reminder that our rights and our freedoms are fragile. Listen, every generation has to continue to fight for them again. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that we actually knew that. I came up around the same time as you, so we assumed that we would have reproductive freedom.
Yes.
We assume that the right to be able to work with safety and dignity, that would always be our right, and that has been shaken. It's fragile, it's precious, and we have to keep fighting for it, each generation.
So tell us about what the work that you do with your organization.
So we're lucky enough to fight for gender justice at the National Women's Law Center Action Fund. And we do it by working to change laws, but we also do it by engaging with the culture and mobilizing voters. We focus on women in particular. Sometimes people think of them as people who are not engaged. They are the opportunity voters. They're the people that if you go and talk to them about the things that matter to them, the things that they're hearing about on the kitchen table, the things that they're talking to their friends about, that's how you get them engaged, and that's what we do.
And what can we do when you talk about, people not knowing that we can get engaged? How can people get engaged through your organization?
So people can sign up on our website, and that's an easy thing to do at the National Women's Law Center Action Fund. But also, I want to offer the opportunity for people to just do one thing over the next 75 days. And it's sort of in the call to action that the forever First Lady Michelle Obama said, is do something. So that might be sign up for one opportunity to make calls. It might be talking to that one friend about what they're going to do this period. It might be telling your own story, your story around reproductive freedom, your story about accessing childcare. Do something. This is not the time to sit it out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We recently traveled to New Orleans by Amtrak, and it struck me that I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in Illinois my entire life, and the minute I left this state, I was less safe than I have ever been in my entire life. So are you hearing that from a lot of women? Because we have so many states that are women are in danger in other states.
We hear it every single week. And the thing is, people don't even realize until they find themselves in need of care.
Right.
And the idea that if you live in Louisiana, you should be less safe and less free than if you live in Illinois is absurd, right? We are a country and a nation of laws, and foundational to it is everyone is fundamentally equal. So we can fight to actually return the right to abortion and access. We can fight for our freedoms and our families at the same time. That's what these next 75 days are about.
I love that you use the line from Michelle Obama's speech, do something. If you're tired, if you're afraid, make sure you do something. It's very hectic here, and I know you've been doing a lot of interviews, and we're grateful for your time. And I want to know, how many days have you had a chance to be at the convention?
I've been here every night.
Yes.
I have been more and more excited every night. I've been more inspired. The story that we heard at this convention is one of promise. It's the personal stories, of course, of Vice President Harris and Governor Walz, but it is the story of what's possible in this country, right? And the story of our freedoms and the fact that we can fight for them. I know that she has fought for us. I've seen it up close and personal in her fight for reproductive freedom and her ability to put care at the center of her economic agenda. But I think, guys, we have to fight for her. And that's what we're here to say too.
Yes, we've been talking to Fatima Goss-Graves with the National Women's Law Center Action Fund. Remind folks what the website is and any last thoughts you want to share with our listeners.
I just keep going back to 75 days, do something, follow FLOTUS, and you can find us at the National Women's Law Center Action Fund. So glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of this is a big night, so enjoy it. Thank you. We'll be right back after this on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal.